Mike Bohn here in Riyadh with Coach Dewey Cooper, who will be in the corner of Francis Ngannou for his second boxing match against Anthony Joshua. Dewey, we're like 30 or so hours away now. Just tell me what you're seeing from Francis, like this close to the fight, mentally, physically, all the key things that he'll need to bring into the ring.
I see him really calm and at peace with what he has to do in 30 hours or so. He's really low temperament. Yeah, he's perfect right now. No stress. Just time to express in 30 hours.
How different is he than the man we saw here when I interviewed ringside right after the fight, talking about how impressed the WBC was and they were going to rank him and everything?
Like, true. I broke that news first.
Thank you for giving me that scoop.
Yeah, I still got the video on this phone here of Marcelo Suleiman telling him and everything. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How different of a boxer is Francis from that guy we saw in October?
Much more improved because he had that 30 minutes of experience with Tyson Fury, so he's much more improved in every aspect, and everyone will see one day away.
Yeah, tactically, as far as the difference between Tyson and Anthony, is that like a big task to take on, and adjusting the styles and having Francis figure that out? Because I feel like Tyson was on his mind for so long. He probably had formulated somewhat of a game plan before the fight even came to fruition, and now this is something that's a little different.
Yeah, well, Joshua is more of a textbook boxer, more of a classic boxer, more of a basic boxer. So we simplified some things, and we just expect Francis to be really dominant tomorrow night.
I talked to Eddie Hearn yesterday, and you've probably heard this a million times. Francis needs to win by knockout. He can't win. His quote was, "He can't win repeated rounds repetitively." Do you just find amusement at that point? Like, do you go in this thinking we can win a decision if that's what it comes down to?
We should have won a decision in his first outing against Tyson Fury, so he can definitely win by decision. However, anytime you get a champion like Francis Ngannou into a fight, our ultimate goal was domination, and most of the time the way you dominate someone is by knocking them out. So in a perfect world, if it were up to me, if I had a magic wand, I would wave it and he'd knock him out in the first round. But he's prepared to go 10 if we have to, and I feel confident that we have astute judges who will do the right thing if it does go 10 rounds.
And you mentioned waving that magic wand. When you do that, what do you see for Francis's future, just in combat sports as a whole? Do you think he's a boxer now and this is the path he needs to stick to, or do you like the idea of him going back to MMA at some point?
I like the idea of him being happy. So whatever makes him happy is what we will support. However, there are big opportunities in boxing now. The winner of his fight in Joshua will face the winner of Usyk Fury, and that fight will be for the unified belts, all 4 belts in professional boxing. And when you have an opportunity to do that, nothing should supersede that. He's already won the UFC heavyweight title. Imagine by the end of 2024, he's the unified heavyweight boxing champion of the world. This is something that's never been done before. This is something that will catapult him to the baddest man on the planet ever, because he got the UFC strap and all 4 belts in boxing. Never been done. So whatever he wants to do, I'm definitely okay with him fighting mixed martial arts, because that's where our team all started from, him fighting MMA. I love MMA, I love boxing, I just love to fight. Any fighting style is great. So whatever he wants to do, we're gonna be right behind him, helping him as much as we can.
And of course, you're just looking out for Francis' best interest regardless. But as far as who that fight could be, like Tyson said, I think yesterday or today, that there is a rematch clause with Usyk. How do you think that shakes out? Do you think maybe there's a chance that fight is so definitive they don't do a rematch and Francis gets first, or how do you think that whole thing shakes out?
Well, the thing is, it shakes out the way Your Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh says it's going to shake out. He already declared that the winner of Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua, will face the winner of Usyk and Fury. That's what he said. He didn't say there would be a rematch before. He said winner versus winner. So I'm sure any kind of rematch clause wouldn't supersede that. He's the one making this happen. He's the one bringing boxing to Saudi Arabia in the biggest way ever. So whatever he says goes. And as far as we're concerned, that's what's going to happen. Winners face the winners.
Makes sense. One thing off topic here that I just asked Francis about, and is kind of the big news in the boxing space, just got announced a bit ago. Jake Paul will be boxing Mike Tyson, who will be 58. We don't know if it's going to be an exhibition or a pro bout, but it's going to be something where they're in the ring together throwing punches. What do you think of this? Like, as a boxing purist who's been around the game for so long, does this rub you the wrong way? Do you see the sense in it?
Mixed emotions. I brought guys for Jake Paul to spar when he were getting ready for Nate Robinson and Ben Askren. I've seen him in the gym a lot. I used to be BJ Flores' coach, his coach at those times. So I was in the gym with them a lot. By the way, real cool guy. Nothing like the people probably would think. I've been knowing Mike Tyson since the 90s. Mike's an awesome guy, an incredible guy. He's helped our team. So it's a sensitive situation for me at 58. The way Mike looks on the pads and everything, he can still do it. Just will he be dedicated to training a real camp? And will he take Jake Paul seriously? Does Jake Paul have enough to motivate Mike Tyson is the biggest question in my mind. If he does, it's a serious fight for Jake Paul. If he doesn't, then Jake Paul has an opportunity to be the iconic legend, and so that's just crazy to me. I would rather Jake Paul fight some young boxers, like have a rematch with Tommy Fury, something like that, versus a Mike Tyson. But I understand that it's going to be box office and people are going to be excited about it. But I just hope both fighters are okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. Jake Paul was born 6 months before Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear that night. Like, just crazy.
Yeah, insane. 58, I mean, that's a high number in age to be fighting young guys. But if the world wants to see it and both men are willing, let's do it.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens there. But as far as Friday night, we have two willing and able participants, Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua, throwing down. Are you bold enough to make a prediction of how this goes, or are you just hoping for a win no matter how it comes?
Well, we've been saying it. I've been saying it. We expect victory. And anytime you talk about Francis Ngannou, you already know any punch could put the lights out. So I'm saying, just my choice, knockout. We're knocking him out within 8 rounds.